happy with less. The Lord has so much for us. We do not need to be happy with less than what the Lord would have us to have. If you remember, the tribe of Reuben, the tribe of Gad, and as we'll see at the end of our reading today, half the tribe of Manasseh chose and decided they did not want to go over the Jordan. In fact, they asked Moses, please let us stay on this side of the Jordan. Moses was very irritated with them and accused them of disheartening the people of Israel and equating them with those uh, spies and the generation previously that refused to go into the promised land initially. And so we now see that Moses is saying, okay, I understand that you're going to go over and fight with us or fight with them because Moses isn't going to get to go into the promised land, that you're going to go over the Jordan, you're going to fight with them, and then you're going to come back. And Moses said, if you will do this, if you will take up arms to go before the Lord for the war, and every armed man of you will pass over the Jordan before the Lord until he has driven out his enemies from before him, and the land is subdued before the Lord, then after that you shall return and be free of obligation to the Lord. Now, why would you want to be free of obligation to the Lord? Don't we want to be yoked? Don't we want to be tied to the Lord? Don't we want to always be in the service of God? This is a terrible thing. Why would we, why would you, why would they want to be free of obligation to the Lord and to Israel? So sad. And then he goes on to say, if you will not do this, behold, you have sinned against the Lord, and be sure your sin will find you out. Now, they will actually do that. We'll see this in Joshua. They actually do. They go and they help Joshua. They conquer the land, and they go back to their homeland, this place that has a wonderful land for cows, wonderful land for sheep. But actually, when they go back to their homeland, they actually end up erecting a memorial, a testimony to remind the other tribes of Israel that they are a part of Israel. And so, and then this causes a big old ruckus between the tribes because the other tribes think that these three, Manasseh, the half tribe of Manasseh, Reuben, and Gad, that they are actually worshiping a false god. We'll get to that at the end of Joshua. But you see right here, it says, you have sinned. It is interesting that the choice and what they are doing, it is not considered, it is not called sin. But it does seem to be a very foolish and silly choice. I'll go on. Moses goes on to say, so we have to keep that in mind, that what they did is not considered sin because they do indeed go over and help the other tribes conquer the promised land. But I think, as I said at the beginning, I think they were happy with less than the Lord had for them. Yeah, it wasn't sin. Doesn't seem like Numbers 32 calls it sin. But they just seem to be happy with less. And what a sad state. Why would you, why would I, why would Central Baptist Church be happy with less than what God wants to do with us? I have no idea. These tribes were. Let's make sure we are not. So they go on to say, Moses gave command concerning them to Eleazar the priest and to Joshua the son of Nun. So Moses is saying, make sure they go over the Jordan River, make sure they fight with you. And then we come down here to verse 31. And the people of Gad and the people of Reuben answered, what the Lord has said to your servants, we will do. So sad. Okay, they're fine with this command. Okay, go over and fight with the other tribes of Israel. But they weren't okay with the first command. They weren't okay with the first promise that the promised land is for them. They said, okay, we're obeying this Lord now, but we don't really like the first thing. They were happy with less. And look at this sad statement. They said, yes, we'll pass over armed before the Lord in the land of Canaan. The possession of our inheritance shall remain with us beyond the Jordan. Don't take us over the Jordan, as we heard them say in yesterday's reading. And here they are happy with their inheritance remaining on the other side of the Jordan. Let's not be happy with less. It goes on and saying about all the land was actually divided. And then that is where we see that the half tribe of Manasseh is actually linked in as well. That also happens, right? If you're going to be a slacker, if you're going to just be happy with less than what the Lord has for you, you can about guarantee that the person that's sitting beside you, you can about guarantee that your friend is going to be tempted to just say, well, you know what? I'll just kind of sit back too and be happy with less. I'll be happy with less than the Lord has for me. Let's not be happy with less. Let's go and take all that the Lord has for us and has commanded us to take. I pray that's been a blessing to you, and I will see you in the next video.